Welcome to the Homeownership podcast presented by Momentum Realty, located in Hanover, Massachusetts. This series covers all things real estate and the best practices for buying, selling, and owning properties. Now here's your host, Sean Maloney.
Welcome to episode 198, Finding the Perfect Home to Host the Holidays. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. Thanks for joining me this week. This week, I want to talk to you about hosting the holidays. I'm talking to you right here on Thanksgiving, so I figured it was the perfect time to talk about what makes a house perfect for the holidays and how can you shop for one, and why is it that almost every house works for the holidays? How is that true? What does it all mean, all right? So let's talk about it. So the perfect home for one person may not be the perfect home for another. Finding the home that best suits your needs will lead to cherished memories of the holidays. For some people, it's about having large open spaces, hosting large crowds. For other people, it's about small, cozy, warm, intimate spaces where people chat around the fire, only a few. It really depends on how large your family is, how large your friend group is, how large the network that you talk with is, and how much you like to host. Some people love to host. They want as many people as possible. And other people, they like to just have maybe another couple over and just enjoy a glass of wine and a nice holiday. So finding the perfect house to host the holidays really comes down to the question of, what does the perfect holiday look like to you? I'm going to break down some other parts of the house that are going to be important when you're thinking about the idea of hosting for the holidays. One of them that I want to point out right away that's important whether we like it or not, that is parking. It's somewhat always important to think about when you plan. Sometimes you might need to get creative with parking. Maybe you park in the front lawn. Maybe you park on a side street down the road. Maybe you park at a supermarket. Maybe you get permission from another person in the neighborhood to park at their house. Lots of different ways to make it work, but it is something to think about. Now, we do live in a new day and age where there's Uber, different things like that, so people can park somewhere close and Uber over, all different options. But day to day, for your regular life, it can be challenging. But when you have groups of people over, it can be way more challenging. So thinking about parking when it comes to hosting, if you live in the city, how close are you to transit? Is there a way to get there? Is there buses? Are there trains? It is not going to be common for your guests to go through huge uphill struggles to get to your house. So if there isn't a way for it to happen, it's probably going to lead to less people coming over. Now let's talk about some different things that you might want to think about if you're going to have people. Now, how about cooking or preparing the food, whether it be you cooked it or you bought it out and you need to lay it out? Do you have space for that table? Do you have space for the seats? Is everyone going to sit at couches? Do you need tray tables for everyone's laps? These are things that really become very important if you're going to end up hosting at the house, because you may look at the space now but not think about it, how will it look with all the furniture, and will I have the space for these extra people? And the kitchen, when it comes to the oven and things like that, will it be big enough to do what I want? And if not, where would I outsource the cooking to? And what type of costs would that incur? And if it's on the regular, if it's an annual, and say Christmas or something's going to be for 20 or 30 people at $20 or $30 a head, that's $600 a year. That's quite a bit more money that you could have invested into your kitchen to know that it would be able to handle it versus spending it in an outsource. Because cooking for yourself and taking care of yourself, especially around the holidays, is far more affordable, and honestly, it's a little more intimate, and the food's usually a little warmer and everything just because it's cooked for you specifically then. Nothing wrong with bringing in food during the holidays, and that's something you just want to think about in your plan overall. Another thing sometimes people forget about is the world of bathrooms. So if you live maybe in a one-bedroom house and you have one bathroom, are you comfortable with guests coming over and using your bathroom that has your toothbrushes and all the prescriptions and all the private things of your life within those confines? Is that something you're okay with? There's such thing as renting portable space, but these are things that you want to think about. If you think of yourself as a person who hosts, you might want to make sure that you get 1.5 bathrooms. That way there you have the other bathroom so that when guests are there, they're not in your private space. And again, not everyone's budget allows these things, not everyone needs these things, but I'm just trying to point out when you're thinking about hosting for the holidays, things you might want to think about. Next, let's talk about layouts and floor plans. So, layouts and floor plans, everyone has their own interests. Maybe you have a group that's quiet and they like to have private discussions. So, several different rooms, maybe a fireplace or a wood stove, nice little nooks and crannies where people can get comfortable on a couch, lay back together, and just enjoy being together. Or maybe you have the family that's sensational about sports and you need a big open floor plan so you can have a huge television and loud crowds and tons of people and tons of food, and that's the way you need it to be. Well, you want to think, how often am I hosting versus how much does this match my normal life? Because if you get a segmented house because you like intimate parties, is that going to be good when you're there with the kids and you're trying to cook and watch them at the same time? Or is that going to be tough? Or on the contrary, the open floor plan is going to be great for having those guests over, big parties, everything. But is that going to work when your husband's home and he's trying to work on the computer and you're trying to cook and you need your separate space? You have to look at your life and think about how much time these parties and hosting for the holidays takes up out of your schedule and how much it's really worth investing in your house. I can say, though, most people's fondest memories are when they're able to get together with friends, family, or their network and enjoy the holiday season. Guys, I hope this helps you make the decision of where you want to live for the holidays, but if you need help, reach out to us over here at Movementum Realty. We'd be happy to set you up with one of our Move Mentors, which is what we call our agents, because we believe they're both a mentor and a guide in the process of buying, selling, and owning homes. Thanks again for listening. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving.